You made this decision long ago. The Empire cannot win. You're coming home to yourself.
Hello, and welcome back to another We Ourselves video. And today I want to talk about the idea of a carrot and a stick when it comes to the Black community and our entertainment, particularly our movies and our TV shows. This topic has been something I've been thinking about for a while, but it came to a head for me recently when I heard somebody make the statement that the Tyler Perry movie should not be seen as a negative for the Black community. The person felt we should not approach them in a negative way. The way we should look at Tyler Perry movies was as a cautionary tale and a learning experience. We should see the trauma porn on screen as examples of the type of people and human beings that we, Black people, do not want to be in our real lives. Now, I can understand what the person meant from a certain point of view and by taking that position. But in the whole, I disagree with the idea. We all know that movies and TV shows have an enormous influence on how we perceive ourselves, our place in the world, or how we feel and what we think is possible as a people. Yet, given that massive ability to influence us, I feel this person wanted us to accept the trauma porn over and over again, and somehow we're supposed to be superhuman and not let it have a negative effect on us. And if we do, then it's our own shortcoming. Now, other people, other groups, they can be inspired by their movies.
Superman and Lois. You know, you got Superman, like the 80th Superman, and he's training his sons. You know what I mean? He's embracing his sons. He's hugging his son and he's hugging his wife. And we have to settle for that as Black men. You know what I mean? Like,
that's exactly
okay, it happens. Like it doesn't happen in the white community too, where they have single parenthood. Of course it does. But they're allowed to have an ideal to show their people, to show their kids, to believe in.
An image to aspire to become.
But we can't have movies that inspire us. We need to have movies that teach us a lesson. Really? When it comes to films, particularly fantasy and sci-fi films, but all films in general, we are constantly told, and you've heard the saying, that you have to suspend your disbelief, or that a successful film will get you to suspend your disbelief. And I've always hated that saying because I think it's backward and negative. The first problem I have is the assumption that we all walk around in a state of disbelief. Now, of course, I know that they're trying to say that that's being rational, that disbelief is the equivalent of being rational and level-headed. And so they try to paint disbelief as a positive, but it's not. And I've always found that saying to be backwards because a good movie does not get you to suspend your disbelief because that's not your natural state. What a good film does is it gets you to engage your imagination. Just look at how much more positive that view is, that truth is. And that's what I meant when I talked about the activation code in the previous video. Movies that have a complete activation code will ignite and will enhance and will kickstart our imagination. That is why the first Black Panther was phenomenally successful. That complete activation code engaged the imaginations of people around the world of all ages. You didn't have to be a Black person to have your imagination activated. And when our imaginations are activated, that is when we start to affect our real world and reality. And so because good movies will engage our imagination, the idea that Tyler Perry's trauma porn is okay because we're supposed to learn a lesson, I think that's a dangerous position. In other words, why do we get the stick, but other groups get the carrot? Too many of us have accepted the trauma porn, and for those who are telling us it's okay because it's teaching us to be better people, we have to be careful that we don't buy into this lie that we need a stick rather than a carrot. Why is it that other communities, when they do their movies, they have plenty of movies and examples so that they can get inspiration or carrots? They don't hit their groups over the head with a stick to make them better people. They give them movies that engage their imagination and their positive emotions and lift them up. Their movies inspire them. This is why fans are so emotional about the support for the franchises that they like. that franchise, that IP, that book, that movie, that TV show engaged our imaginations when we watched it or listened to it. And so when we do that, we share, I believe, in a pocket reality that is created when we watch, listen, or read various IPs. So in a way, we're actually co-creating with the person who made that product, particularly when it comes to books and audiobooks, because we are literally creating the world that we are listening to or reading. And so it's true co-creation because you are engaging your powerful imagination.
Is this all real? Or is it just happening inside my head?
Of course it's happening inside your head, Harry. Why should that mean that it's not real?
So for me, that's why I've never liked the expression that you are disengaging your disbelief. No, good movies engage your imagination because imagination is powerful. Think about it. Everything around us that has been created, made, or manufactured started in somebody's mind, in their imagination. Everything, even the chair you're sitting on, the computer you're using, the mobile device that you were using, it all started in somebody's imagination, in the immaterial, in the non-physical realm. And it was brought forth. It was manifested as the device you are using, as the movie you go see, as the songs you listen to, as the books you read, as the comic books you buy, as the action figures you buy. That is how powerful imagination can be. So why are we subjecting ourselves to trauma porn, which does not engage our imagination? What it does is it causes us to be defensive because we're supposed to learn a lesson. And to me, it just mimics what happens in real life. I worked in K-12 for a time, and I saw all the stats. And one of the stats that always stood out for me, and everybody knows it in education, is that a black student can commit the same infraction that a white student does, but the black students get maximum punishment. On the other hand, a white student is given options or given chances because the concern is not to mess up their bright future. But the opposite is assumed for black students. So the conventional wisdom is to bring maximum force to bear on black children in order to save them, make them a better person. In other words, the stick. It's as if we've all been infected with this terrible idea that what we need is discipline. When every other group gets help, encouragement, and inspiration, they get larger-than-life heroes and love stories, complete activation codes. We even see it in the way in which you talk about honoring somebody's legacy. Right now, we're talking about Damson Idris being cast as T'Challa or maybe T'Child. And there are some people who are worried that Chadwick Boseman's legacy is going to be tarnished or something. We have seen in the industry that real legacy means that you carry forward a character. You don't box them, as they say in Battlestar Galactica. You're not going to box the line, bring it to the end of the line. That's just a memorial, and we have too many memorials. No, you carry the character forward. But when it comes to us, that very common human way of carrying forward legacy is turned 180 degrees, and we do the non-human thing. We don't carry on legacy. We stop it. We memorialize the first effort, the original person. I talked about it before, how we take the foundation that's laid and we put a memorial on it, and that foundation just withers and it cracks over the years, and then suddenly somebody else comes along, tears up what's left, and they build something else that has multi-use for generations and is real legacy. We don't need to learn a lesson. We need to be inspired, just like everybody else, because I say, and I will keep saying it, that our imagination is stronger than anybody else in this damn world, and they know that, which is why they shut it down. The trauma porn is designed to make us defensive and traumatized. It is not designed to inspire us, to activate us, or to activate our imaginations.
That's the power of this medium. You know, people want to act like it's just this, it's just that. No, a lot of what you see on TV has been weaponized against us. A lot of our music and hip hop has been weaponized against us. But guess what? That same stuff can be used to uplift us as well, without being corny.
We don't need a stick to teach us to be good human beings. What we need is inspiring movies that show us good human beings and inspiring characters and scenarios that engage our wonderful imagination so that we can create a better future and reality for ourselves. So anyway, that's what I wanted to say. Let me know what you think, and as always, like, subscribe, and share, and I will see you the next time.
The sleeper has awakened!